Hello everybody, I'm Casey and we're going to do a pick a card reading. This is for all my perfectionists out there. We're going to see what is blocking you from doing something that you really love or starting something that you really love. You already know if you already know. Am I right? So we're going to do a reading about that. So normally in these pick a card readings, there's usually crystals and piles that you could pick from. I thought it'd be fun. I wanted to kind of shake things up and be a little bit weird. So we're gonna do pile 1 is a pair of tweezers. Pile 2 is a dollar bill. Pile 3 is a jar of vitamins. Vitamins put into a Trader Joe's jam jar. So I want you to think about your perfectionism. What is blocking you, and we're also going to have parts of this reading that is what are the steps that you can take, who can you call upon, what are the tools, what's your in, what's your way out of this situation, how can we heal this, how can we move forward, right? So tweezers are 1, bill is 2, vitamins are 3. So pick a pile and tune in. Pile 1, tweezers. Let's find out what your blockages are first, okay? What's keeping you in this perfectionist mode, okay? Pile 1. Okay. I'm sensing that you have faced in your life an unfortunate amount of toxic criticism from probably from your formative years. There was just a part of time where it's like nothing you could do was right. There was always something that you did that there was always a reason why it wasn't good enough, right? It's just maybe someone compared you a lot to other people and like, well, they're doing this and they're doing that, and I just feel like that people like with this 5 of Wands, all these people just like constantly reaching and taking that fire out of your solar plexus, which is like that feeling of like our empowerment, and like being able to express ourselves with confidence and self-love. So I'm sensing there has been like people on the outside who have created this fear inside you that now they sound like your voice, but they're not, because they're all dressed like you. So in your head, it may seem like it's all you, right? All the voices in your head, they sound like, when it's your thoughts to yourself and being like, I can't do this, or this is too hard, or I'm not smart enough, I don't know enough, there's people who went to school for this and I didn't, like all of like the silly thoughts that I don't want to say that silly, all of the mean thoughts that our ego says to us that aren't really true to who we are, and so I'm sensing that like now you have these voices in your head that they were never yours to begin with, and it's not your fault, and I feel like you grew up with a very harsh, and so then it became safer to just not speak up at all or to not express. And maybe it wasn't necessarily in a creative way, but I just sense an environment of high criticism that was now internalized, which has created this sense of perfectionism. And especially because we have the Queen of Wands in reversed, and I feel like you are this Queen of Wand energy, but like there has been so much people like putting out your fire, and now these voices in your head, they sound like yours, and they're not. And I think that's why you may feel such like at war, because you're like, you have this part of yourself that's like, I know how amazing and talented and how much I have to share and how worthy I am, just like everyone else is. But then you have this complete other reality as well that like just feels you're just at odds, right? Like it's like one of those, it's like, yeah, I know that this is happening and I can't stop it, and it's so frustrating. So this is what I'm sensing is caused the perfectionism and has blocked it, and I'm seeing a lot of like purples and oranges. So definitely working with some sacral healing. You can call upon Archangel Ariel. She comes in this beautiful light green energy to help with your sacral energy, which is about your emotions and creativity and desires and sexuality and stuff like that. So there has been that beautiful orange glow. I'm sensing has been stomped on and like put out, like, you know, when there's like a flame and someone just keeps like pinching it and just keeps throwing water on it. And now like that has become a pattern inside your body as a safety mechanism. And it's your body doing it because it is trying to protect you. And personally, from my experience, the way to heal that is to sit with it and to observe the emotions. Um, and like my best friend Joe says, who's also an amazing healer, he taught me how to look at these emotions without describing, without explaining why they're there, but more so being like, oh, this emotion feels like a sinking, swirling, twisting pit, and just really letting it, and just notice where that is and let it ride out, and it'll transform, and it'll when you give it, it's when you notice it, it can't help but like transform. It's right now it's just kind of in there, just kind of like swirling around, taking up space, not really going one way or another, just staying. So if you lay down, maybe put a crystal, like a cleansing crystal on there, a purifying crystal, talk with an angel and ask them how to help you get through this, or do some guided meditations on the sacral. And so then let's see if there's anything other advice in these cards. Like advice on this, how to clear this blockage. Advice from spirit. Advice from spirit. How to cleanse. Definitely I saw the Hermit. So I think there's a time coming up for you about like solitude and healing. And I invite you to welcome that. And to, if there is a resistance to do it, it's probably because it would be really good for you. Trust me, that's how it works. I know. It's almost like clockwork. If you're resistant to it, it's probably what you want the most or need the most. How can we clear this blockage? Yeah, it's the ego that has gotten very, very strong as a safety defense mechanism, and it's not your fault. But those voices, they're not your true higher self, and I think you know that. And I think when you are speaking from your higher self and thinking from your higher self, you feel amazing, you feel free, you feel joyous. And I think you feel like this, you know, when you have that higher self energy. And this color reminds me of Archangel Uriel, beautiful gold. And this archangel is definitely all about like self-empowerment and your voice and how to speak your truth. And then we have Leo, like strength in reverse. So I, as a way to, since these are advice cards to overcome these blockages, I think there is like, I think maybe I've been trying to fix them in a very like masculine energy, and I don't mean that in like a gender way, but like in like the what's it called, the divine energy, where it's like divine masculine, divine feminine. We all have both inside of us, all of us. But then the divine masculine energy does represent more of that like attacking, getting, doing, physical, like, you know, just keep doing. And the divine feminine represents more of like that receptive and flow and intuitive. And I think that I think you've been trying to heal this with a lot of like this beautiful strength that you do have. And maybe it's time to just step back and be like, okay, so I know exactly why, and I keep trying all these things, but they're not working, and it's actually just making me more tired and more frustrated. And so it's kind of saying that like this, you can put that tool to rest for now. It is a beautiful tool to always have, and you will be able to use this. I think it's more about, can we tune into this more intuitive, and it's challenging you to definitely fill up your cup and like ask yourself every day, how full is my cup? What activities can I do? What things can I do? What things can I say? Or anything that make me feel, that give you that little smile on your face, that make you feel, you know, that the world isn't so bad and so isn't so daunting. It's interesting. We got the Seven of Swords. So it came up as an advice card, right? So I'm curious, is there someone in your life that there's some kind of deceit, there's some kind of trickery, manipulation happening? And if you are in a group or if you're with people who, if you kind of got that feeling of like, there's something off, but maybe there's nothing, like, you know when someone's passive aggressive, you don't have proof, but you just know? And then maybe then you don't know at the same time, but then you talk about it with one person, you're like, oh my god, like, yeah, I was right. Or you had a feeling about someone all along and you just gave a benefit of the doubt and you blamed yourself and you were like, oh, I'm just sensitive, whatever, it's like all in my head. Which is possible if you've been gaslit before, especially when I was saying like, oh, there seems to be a lot of heavy criticism that happened in your life. So usually there's a lot of gaslighting with that too, of you being like, hey, that doesn't feel good when you say that. And they're like, oh, you're just blah, blah, blah. And I'm doing this for your own good. So if there's people around your circle, around you, who you just got that feeling, I would say, experiment, and this is a very helpful way to try it out and see how it feels. Be like, okay, I'm gonna experiment with implementing a boundary and see how they react, or these people react, and experiment on talking to them less. It doesn't have to be this huge grand gesture. Like, you can still keep your privacy and like, honor yourself throughout this process while you're trying to figure out what your boundaries are with people, and if you're trying to figure out someone's motives. So that's a way to be able to address this situation in a low stakes way and in a very gentle way, that you don't have to like give yourself up, and like you don't have to make any declarations, right? We don't have to go to any extremes. You can say, okay, I'm going to experiment what it feels like if I stop talking to them. Do they stop reaching out? Maybe you'll notice, like, oh, like, I always reach out. Or experiment with not always being ready to answer the phone if you always are. Just, these are little things that you can try and sample out, so that this huge daunting task of cutting out toxic people in our lives can be so scary, and it's so valid. And so I'm just telling you what I have done that has helped. That then it also gives you that room, that nice gentle room, to figure out if what part of your intuition, like, if, and then it helps you build with yourself in this very, very gentle way. And you can start noticing, you're like, oh shit, my intuition was right. Like, or just go back in time and think about how many times you thought something was off, and then all of a sudden at the end you're like, oh my god, I was right the whole time. So I'm sure as soon as I said this, at least one person, popped up into your head. And then I'm sure maybe you even said, no, but, and I'm just saying, just because I'm saying the fact that they popped up into your head is enough, is absolutely all the information you need in the entire world to start experimenting with how you feel when you start shifting how much you talk to this person, how much you interact with this person, right? I'm just saying, and do it in little ways that you feel safe. And if you wanted to know any more about that, I can dive so much more into that and all the things that I have done in that situation. And you can message me and maybe we can do a private reading or something, because I know it's a very, very tricky spot. It's very uncomfortable. It's so scary, especially if you just don't know what to believe, right? And I hear you. And so if you need help with that, I can totally help you with that. So let's pull an oracle card for you. So you're very close to achieving your goal. Wonderful. So whatever it is that is holding you back from this goal that you want to do, this thing that you want to express, I'm sensing something very creative, probably entrepreneurial creative, right? And it's like you have everything, and I think you have everything it takes, but it's just these voices in your head that are not yours, that have been other people that have been adopted into your body, right? So you have everything, and I think that's why you maybe feel so frustrated, because you have everything, but there's just like this, it just seems like this impossible wall or median that you just can't seem to get over. So definitely find, and if it's like in, also when you're trying to cut out toxic people, it's a lot easier to do it when you start inviting in people who are in more alignment with you, because then it becomes easier to notice the difference. It becomes easier to, when you feel supported and loved and in alignment with other people and have a community, it's almost like toxic people lose their power and they lose their shininess and they lose that feeling of that they have something over you, and then you might start naturally feeling like you kind of just gravitate away from them. That's also a way to handle something like that as well. And when you do both, it kind of just magnifies it and helps you do this in a way that is actually not so painful. Because a lot of times when we think of having to do these big changes, it's like seems so painful, and it can be, but the things that I'm suggesting can be less painful. Because I've tried to do it the whole big forceful way, and it never really feels nice. So I'm just trying to, like, why don't we do things that just feel nice, right? Just because. So let's pull a crystal for you, and like, what is something that would be helpful for you to meditate on? Okay. So we have Amazonite. I don't know how to say it. Amazonite. Objectivity, filter truth. Filtering vibrations is what Amazonite does best from electromagnetic pollution, your thoughts, and environmental influences. So if you're prone to environmental sensitivity, Amazonite has your back. This is a great way to cleanse yourself from technology if you need a break from your devices. It encourages discernment, allowing you to be unbiased in your decision making. Objectivity leads the way, offering clarity on which choices are best for you. Detach from the outside in order to connect to the inside. I think this one would be great to meditate with. And also I think that maybe the indecision comes from these emotional responses and stuff. So this crystal might help you feel a little bit more clarity and objective when you're trying to like make a decision and you're in one of those like limbos. And then we have Tanzine Aura Quartz. Enchantment, cosmic alchemy. Cosmic alignment is here. This brings equilibrium to our multidimensional states, melding mind, body for spiritual balance. With indigo rays vibrating high, this stone heightens the ability to see and communicate beyond this world. It gently opens up your crown chakra, creating a channel between the divine and your body. Made from the rare metal indium, this crystal brings mystical qualities to a higher understanding of one's metaphysical abilities. You're more powerful than you think. Connecting to your intuition, I think you might be psychic. I think we all kind of are. How can we all not? We all use our intuition. We all manifest. But I think you might be, feel like you may be a healer, connected, because I did see a lot of purples in your cards as well. So I did want to mention that. So, and also when I pull these cards, I tend to see like, okay, so you might benefit from doing some crown chakra. And then with this blue, I'm sensing with some throat chakra. Then we have watermelon, tourmaline, love, balance, and clarity. And so this I'm sensing heart, 100% heart chakra. Relationships are the currency of life, and this raises awareness of soul agreements and your impact on others' lives. It's supercharged to activate the heart chakra, creating a divine connection between you and your higher self. It teaches you to enjoy the sweetness of life, remembering good things often take time to ripen. Watermelon tourmaline balances masculine and feminine energies, connecting your heart chakra to both the physical and spiritual aspects of yourself. So these can help you, and I hope that they do. And you are going to get where you want to be. It's inevitable. It is destined for you. And I think you're trying so hard to overcome this, and you will. And meditating can help you figure out which voices are yours and which ones are not, and which ones you don't want anymore. And if you feel like you don't know how to get rid of this, ask your higher self and your spiritual teachers and guides to help you understand what you can do to overcome this. If there's anything I haven't said already that you feel like might be helpful. Okay, thank you, Pile 1. Okay, Pile 2, we have your dollar bill. Let's see what has caused some perfectionism and is making these blockages. Wow, okay, it's very powerful reading already. Got the Magician, the Hermit in reverse, Two of Pentacles. Okay. What is causing All right, too many cards. What is causing your procrastination, your perfectionism? I'm sensing money might be an issue here for you. And it just may feel like every move you take to your, like, that, like, the money is such, like, a strong goal, which is totally valid, but, you know, when you get that, like, desperate need for it, and you feel like, for me, like, when your creativity is, like, so wrapped with the financial outcome, and, like, relying all of your financial outcome on your creativity, that pressure can put out your creativity and just make you feel horrible. And it's not that you don't deserve to get paid for your creativity. You absolutely do. 100% you deserve to live off of your creativity without anything else. However, if you're coming from a place that doesn't feel secure at the moment, it's almost impossible to create and stuff like that when you're in that feeling, right? So you can make money off of this, but I'm sensing that in order for you to free up your change so that you can start creating again, is find a way to create a financial security for yourself that isn't solely reliable on your creativity, so that it gives your creativity that freedom back, and you can have so much joy and limitless ways to, to be creative, to do what you want, because the end goal of just, like, needing that money is stopping your creativity, and it's making you feel like you don't know what to create when, because you just have such an expectation on the outcome of that, right? Because it's like, you're like, what do I do? I'm sensing there maybe is an imbalance of where you're putting your energy. But you can literally do anything, and I think sometimes when you're so talented and you have so many passions and you feel like you can do anything, it almost feels like you feel like you don't know where to go because there's too many options, right? So this is suggesting to create ways in your life that do make you feel like you have security, privacy, and safety, and all that stuff, and support, so that you feel like you can venture out. And when you have, like, less anxiety around the need to create for security, and you release that and you have this freedom, then it becomes fun and amazing and abundant, and, like, it can grow with you, and, like, your truth can grow with you, and you'll be so excited to do all the different kind of creative things that you want to do. And feeling secured and supported is not only by money. It can, of course, it is necessary, and you deserve it, and all that stuff. But who's your support? Do you feel like you have a support system? Do you feel like you have a community that's in alignment with you? Do you feel like, if the worst case scenario happened, that you have people that you can rely on, that, like, at the end of the day, you have people that you feel like you trust. But most of all, when it comes to when you're trying to venture out and become, make something a business or anything like that, it's important to become a part of community that is also doing that, so you don't feel like you're doing it alone. You can bounce off your ideas and get them validated, and make this process fun and full of love, the way it's meant to be. And you deserve that. And I think it is time to come out of isolation. If you feel like you have to do this all on your own, that perfectionism of, like, you have to do it all yourself. Like, it's not worth it if you got help. You might have that belief where it's like, having help is not, like, it doesn't make my ideas valid or something. And it's like, it's so much more fun when you have people to do it with, and then it doesn't feel like, is that feeling of like you need this to have that, or need this to have that, or need this to feel this, that will never go away. If that's, like, that state of, like, I need this to feel this, that if you just, like, feel like you need this to do that, need this to do that, and need this to do that, or need this to have that, it's like this endless cycle. So I think the antidote for your perfectionism and feeling like you're stuck is to feel like to bring love back into the situation, and like that childlike joy of creativity, and like how creativity is everyone's birthright and abundance is everyone's birthright. And we live in this very capitalistic world where it's like, you know, every man for themselves, and it can make us think that like we're supposed to be like that, and then make us feel crazy that we can't succeed when we're alone, when it's genuinely we're not supposed to do that. We're just the most social beings on the entire planet. We are meant to have community, and we're meant to have support, and we're meant to be validated. And it totally makes sense to not move forward with ideas if we don't have validation from, you know, the audience that we're looking for. So I'm sensing that that is your blockage, is a sense of is maybe not having a sense of community and support. And if it is very hard for you to reach out and ask for help, that is totally valid. There are ways to start experimenting with it to build your, you know, acclimating your body to it and feeling comfortable and exploring that and seeing how it feels. Like, you know, keep it low stakes at first. Be like, okay, in this situation, I feel like I don't know what to do about this idea or this project or whatever. I'm going to call one person that I trust who, you know, is doing what I love already. I look up to them, and they're really whatever. And just be like, in this one moment, I'm just going to call them and just see how this conversation feels. And if I bounce off my ideas, or just tell them I'm going through, if afterwards I feel like I have inspiration and energy and hope and excitement, or if I feel worse. And so you can do that as like little experiments to be like, okay, maybe I'll join a Facebook group of people who are doing the same thing. If I don't like it, I can exit. Asking people who are doing what you want, who are doing what you love, like, for example, like if I was like, oh, I want to be making these kinds of videos and getting money for it, I look at someone who's doing that and like being like, hey, can I like pick your brain? Especially if it's like a friend, and like people love to talk about themselves and they love to feel like they're experts and stuff. And like if you're like, hey, you do something really well, can you help me? Like, I can't imagine, unless you're like a sociopath, like why wouldn't you want to, you know what I mean? Like everyone loves, like, you know, when you do something you figure out, everyone wants to teach it. That's why you see videos everywhere of like, I used to be like this and now I like this, and here, join my program, and like I want to teach you, and like that's what we want to do. So if you're afraid to reach out because you feel like people don't want to, you know, you're imposing on them. People love to talk about themselves and to feel validated, and you asking them to help them is validating them. So it's that's a tool I help to remind myself when I'm afraid to seek help and advice from someone, you know? Alrighty, so let's get some crystals. Let's see what crystal you can use in this process right now. Oopsies, there's a lot. Apparently you're very connected to crystals. You probably know that already. Okay. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, watermelon tourmaline. Relationships are the currency of life. What was I saying, honey? I mean, like, am I right or am I right? It raises awareness of soul agreements and your impact in others' lives. It's supercharged to activate your heart chakra, which is, yeah, definitely where that community comes in, and also where that your root chakra, feeling safe. Creating a divine connection between you and your higher self. It teaches you to enjoy the sweetness of life, remembering good things often take time to ripen. It balances the masculine and feminine energies, connecting your heart to both your physical and spiritual aspects of yourself. And then we also have Rainbow Aura Quartz, which is one of my favorite ones. And it's connected to Archangel Raziel, and he comes in all of these beautiful rainbow pastel colors. And this is about aura healing, magic, and universal light. It's fused with titanium, the metal of power. It's amplified with enhanced healing properties. It's able to heal human energy fields by infusing the aura with rainbow fields of light. It's a wonderful companion for astral projection and out-of-body experiences, joining you in the beyond while keeping your physical self anchored. Colors have a healing quality in Rainbow Aura Quartz and are able to match the tone to your aura's energy field to repair and release blocks. Living your life in color, and with this crystal, is a must. So Archangel Raziel is the archangel to help you if you wanted to become like a spiritual teacher and have like spiritual wisdom. So if you're been like, if that's part of your creative path, you can call upon Archangel Raziel to help you become the spiritual teacher that you are so like destined to be and want to be. or if you're just looking for some spiritual wisdom and some spiritual growth. And with the watermelon tourmaline, you can call upon Archangel Raphael to open up that heart chakra. And with this pink energy, Jophiel, she's about like self-love and self-care, like, you know, like take a bubble bath and flowers and all that stuff. So that is my message for you, pile 2. And if any of this resonates and you want to have a more personal one-on-one reading, and I can give you some of my tips that I do to, because this is all relative to me as well, then you can, you know, book a reading with me and like healing session, and we can go from there. Pile 3, vitamins. Alrighty. What's your blockage, and why are you perfectionist? Okay, so we have strength. I'm sensing you just, like, first of all, like, I just feel like you had to be really strong in your life. Like, you had to be hyper vigilant and very, like, defensive of your body, your emotions, your home. I'm sensing that, like, you had to be strong for you. And maybe there was just not enough emotional support and not enough like healthy communication, and it was just you against the world kind of, but I sense that you have a very strong connection with animals, and I feel like you found this strength through that. Maybe you do have cats, or you just find your strength. Maybe you feel like you had so many humans hurt you and these personal, like, you know, interpersonal relationships. And I feel like you found like this beautiful support within the animal world. And so I feel like you have very, very strong connection, and you heal with that. And I think that this has created this perfectionism because there wasn't enough support. And if you kind of let your guard, maybe you have this belief that, or in the past, if you let your guard down just a little, someone came in and just took and hurt and took from your cups, you know, and like made you feel like empty. And the times you like opened up to people and they took, and, you know, people were stealing your ideas, and just being really harsh with communication and being manipulative. And I am sorry. And though where you are in this perfectionism makes total sense from experiencing that. I just have to take a breath for you. And I just kind of want to, like, if you want to do this with me, just rub your heart chakra with me, because that's a lot. So let's see. You're very strong, okay? And you did everything you had to do to get where you are, and it's not that it's not like you've done nothing wrong. And I just feel like I need to say that for some reason. I just feel like I need to say, like, everything you've done you had to do, and it got you to where you need to be, and you're very strong, and you have all these skills now on how to take care of yourself. And now it's like it's safe to let people in again, and it's safe to, I think you're being guided that you are fully capable. You've developed all these skills. You know when someone's manipulative. You know what someone's when they're coming from a mile away. You know what's coming. So now you've developed this skill, and now it may feel like you just don't have enough people who are close. You know, and now that I think your angels are assuring you that you can trust yourself, that you can let people in again. Because now you know. Like, you know. You could smell that bullshit, like, so hard. Alrighty, let's see what we can do to relieve these blockages of this procrastination and this perfectionism. What can we do? Yeah, exactly. With this Nine of Pentacles in reversed and the Nine of Wands in reversed, it's yeah, like with these up, there's like very independent, and this one's like very guarded, you know. You know how to guard yourself. You got your own moat, you got your own armor, and you're good at it. And the Nine of Pentacles, like you know how to support yourself. You don't need to ask anything from no one, because that wasn't an option in your life. You had to create everything for yourself. You have this. And now since it's in reverse now, it's saying it's safe to let people in, that what you have built is protected by your spirit guides and by yourself. You have the ability to protect yourself, and you will in any situation. If you feel like you don't know, you will. This is protected. This is yours. And any lessons in the past that you feel like you may have learned, where it's like maybe you let someone in and they took, and you learned from that, and you can trust that you have. And then it's saying you don't have to be alone anymore, and you don't have to fight anymore. And exactly, here we have the Page of Cups. And for someone, if you feel like you've had to be so strong and kind of on your own for a long time, my advice might be really fucking annoying and scary, right? So that's why I'm saying Page of Cups. It's like, dip your toe in the water, literally. Is there someone in your life that you trust already? Practice developing more intimacy with them. Practice being a little more vulnerable with them, and see how you feel. And there's no rush. You're not doing anything wrong. This is for you. And this is your process and how you want to do it. And you deserve and have every right to do it in a way that makes you feel safe. And so if there's any person in your life or people or anything that you feel that you do have a heart connection with, just practice being, maybe showing a little bit more, I don't know how to say it, you know what I mean? It's like, because everyone shows love in a different way, and it's not that you haven't shown love, but maybe it's, and being vulnerable doesn't mean you have to like tell all your secrets either. It's just like, ask yourself what it would feel like to open up your heart a little bit and to let people in, and see how that feels. And ask yourself what it would look like if you did, what steps you need to do in order to feel that way. Because for some reason, it doesn't feel right for me to tell you what to do. For some reason, it feels like you've had this experience for a very specific reason. And when I learned how to open up my heart, it's because I asked my spirit guides, what can I do? Like, I want to get close to this person, or I want to get close to people, and I want to trust people. How can I do that? What does it feel like if I were to do that? And what are the things I can do right now to start inching in that direction? And I think if, first of all, it starts off with putting that love to yourself, being tender to yourself. I think that maybe you're so good at like having to like headstrong everything that like maybe you don't let yourself cry, you don't let yourself be like, you know, even if you're alone, you may feel like you just kind of, no, we got to do this. Nope, no time to cry. Nope, no time to complain. Nope, no time. Which are great qualities. But if it's imbalanced, then you may just feel at the end of the day, just there's something missing in your heart. And you deserve to have so much joy and love. So let's pull another. And I just feel like I just have no right to tell you what to do, because I just feel like your experience feels so specific. So I'm like, you ask yourself what it would feel like and what feels safe. And also, the most important thing is to do things that you've never done before. If it comes to trying to open up your heart or trying to create a new behavior pattern, it's like, know what you do so that when the situation comes up again and you want to open up, or however you want to say it, do something you normally don't do. Do something that you see other people do who seem to be so like, so open and so trusting, and you're just like, I don't even understand how you can do that. Like, just kind of imagine like, how are they, like, it's not so much about the step by step, but like, how would you feel? What's the feeling of that? And like, what steps would make that feeling happen? The energy is gaining momentum. So I think you probably have been already feeling like this need to kind of like open up your heart and be, you know, a little bit more, get into that like more gentle, a time to give rather than take. It's okay to give as well. And communication is key. So, you know, even if it's calling a loved one and practice being like saying like, hey, I just wanted to let you know I appreciate you and I love you, which is like, seems so simple, but so freaking hard and so like it's for different people, you know. Me saying that to someone would be like, yeah, I do that all the time. Me saying to some people like, that sounds insane. I could never do that. That sounds like something you can never do. I would suggest doing it. Just for the sake of whenever I'm like, oh, I don't, like something feels uncomfortable to do or I don't think I could do it, I go, all right, let me look at it as an experiment. Let's see if I can do it. Because I'm like a competitive and like student kind of person. So it's like if I put it in the sense, in the guise of like, oh, it's just an experiment. I could change my mind at any time. You can always change your mind at any time. And actions inform us. So if you try it and you're like, no, I don't like that. You can decide if you want to do it again, if you want to try it differently. You can adjust. But I think that is where your perfectionism comes from. And when we let people in and feel more support, then that's where the love and the joy of life comes back in, and that trust and that feeling like you want and can do anything you've ever wanted because you have so much love and support, right? And that also means giving other people support as well. And I'm thinking more like emotionally versus like physical. So we got black tourmaline for you, grounding, protection, and detox. If you're feeling nervous to venture out, you can get a black tourmaline to protect yourself during this time where you're expanding these energetic boundaries. It acts as a psychic shield, protecting you from destruction, negativity, and psychic attacks. It establishes boundaries and deflects unwanted mental energies. Yeah, I feel like maybe sometimes when you open up, you're either like all the way or not at all, and this crystal can help you figure out where you find that balance, where you can have beautiful, intimate relationships and a lot of boundaries inside them. People think that intimate relationships mean there's no boundary. It's like, no. That means we have so many boundaries that we respect and that we honor, right? So it deflects unwanted mental energies. It stabilizes your foundation on earth, making sure your feet are on the ground. It absorbs fears and transmutes those emotions into positive energy, and it balances your root chakra and detoxes any anxieties. So if you're looking for a crystal to help you during this time, this would be for you. Pile 3, you're amazing, and I love you. And that might be uncomfortable for you to hear, but I hope you like it.